by the chairman himself. First, listen in to what Mahua Moitra had to say when she stormed out of that meeting.
What happened, Mahua? What happened? What happened? What happened, Mahua? What happened?
MP चला जाएगा इसका उसको औकात बता देंगे.
What happened, Mahua? What happened?
He is reading from a script. This is an ethics committee.
What happened, Mahua?
Asking all sorts of filthy questions.
आप क्या पूछ रहे थे? अब थोड़े बताने भाई बताएं.
All the MPs are.
You heard that dramatic sequence that took place. Mahua Moitra going on to say that this is not the way an ethics panel should take forward its proceedings. But what exactly did Mahua Moitra say before that panel, before this entire session went into a downward spiral, like Mahua Moitra and the other opposition MPs pointed out? Here's what Mahua Moitra told the panel is what we're learning from our sources. Mahua Moitra pleaded not guilty in her deposition when she was asked questions. As far as the cross-examination went, that is what she took objection to. She explained in details about her ties with Jayanand Dehadra, the complainant in this case, the lawyer who she has tagged as a jilted ex. Mahua Moitra also then went on to say that she hasn't violated any rules of parliament. This is what she told the ethics committee. She had also claimed that there was no quid pro quo. She spoke very aggressively in the first half of the meeting, is what we're learning from sources within that ethics committee panel. Mahua Moitra spoke very aggressively at the meeting. We saw that aggression when she walked out as well. Several members of parliament told her to be respectful towards the chairman. She was in fact told that you are not an MP here, you are a witness who's deposing before the panel and you must act accordingly, was what the message was that was sent out to Mahua Moitra, is what we're learning via sources. Let's listen in to some reactions coming in. But before that, we have some more information that's now trickling in. We're given to understand that more information is coming to the fore as far as the ethics panel hearing goes. Sources have now told News18 that the committee will soon adopt its report. The report is going to be submitted to the Lok Sabha Speaker. Remember, if any action has to be taken against Mahua Moitra, it needs sanction of the Lok Sabha Speaker, which is why the report is soon going to be adopted and then submitted to the Speaker for the next course of action. Whether she was found guilty of violating parliament ethics, we'll find out soon enough when that report is submitted. Payal, my colleague, now joining us, getting us more details. Payal, we're given to understand that the chairman and the other members of the committee who were left behind after we saw Mahua Moitra and the opposition MPs walk out, they have sort of finalized this report?
They would have discussed the details because, for finalizing the report, Poonam, you have to actually call for another meeting of the committee. All members will be invited. The report will be discussed and the report has to be adopted before it is actually sent to the Lok Sabha Speaker for his final sanction. But having said that, today what we witnessed was completely unprecedented. We saw MPs storm out, and we are also given to understand by way of sources, because the BJP MPs have been saying that Mahua used unparliamentary and abusive language against the Speaker and which is against the chairman, beg your pardon, and that's something which Mahua has done in the past also as well, against several members of parliament on the floor of the house as well. So that's a different matter altogether. The BJP is going to make it a huge issue, given the fact that Mr. Sonkar is an SC. So essentially they say that this opposition flank, which has no ideology of its own, has now started insulting SCs also. That kept aside, of course, there is a procedure which will be followed after which the report will be submitted. And once the report is submitted, then the Speaker will take a call, and in the upcoming winter session of Parliament, on day one, a motion will have to be moved by the leader of the Lok Sabha or the deputy leader of the Lok Sabha. The leader of the Lok Sabha over here is Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and the deputy leader is Rajnath Singh. So we have to just wait and see what really transpired, because it looks like Mahua's fate is really thin. And also, as per the Evidence Act, if somebody walks out of the parliamentary committee, because remember, Mahua is not a member of parliament in this parliamentary committee. She's been summoned there as a witness in the case against for the complaint that was moved against her, and she's also liable to be, whether it's within the parliament ranks or outside, is what we're given to understand.
Right, so which way that report goes, that's irrespective. The fact that she walked out and stormed out of that hearing could also invite trouble for her, is what we're now learning as per norms of the parliament are concerned. But what have you heard from within the BJP members on that panel? We had Mr. Sonkar come out and say that it really was her aggressive stance that was an issue at the hearing.
Yes, she was very, very aggressive. She is normally said to be very, very aggressive. And when she was aggressive, in fact, one member in the opposition camp told her to calm down and not to really be so aggressive, because she's there as a witness and not as a member of parliament, and she needs to be respectful towards the chair. But several BJP MPs have been saying that she used unparliamentary abusive language against the chairman while she stormed out. and that's something which the BJP will really raise, and possibly the BJP MPs will move a privilege motion against Mahua Moitra, essentially saying that she disrespected the chair, she's abused a fellow parliamentarian as well. So let's wait and see how this really goes. But there are a lot of things that Mahua is actually looking in terms of trouble mounting up for her as well, because the committee is not going to now not hold any more meetings. The evidences have been sought. The reports have been received from the IT Ministry and the Home Ministry as far as her travel and her login details are concerned. And the committee possibly in the next week, early next week before Diwali, would be able to meet and prepare a report and adopt a report is what we are given to understand. And that's why there was a closed door meeting of the BJP MPs of that committee with Vinod Sonkar before he walked out of Parliament.
Right, do stay on with me. Pallavi also joining us here on this broadcast. Now, Pallavi, we've seen the kind of dramatic exit that Mahua Moitra had to do with the other MPs. They claim that there was bias and prejudice on part of the other members and part of the chairman who was leading the questioning as well. The MPs also went on to say that indecent, offensive questions were asked. She stormed out. That session, of course, remains there midway. Are we expecting Mahua Moitra to be perhaps summoned again for her deposition?
Well, I mean, as Payal was correctly pointed out, as far as the ethics committee goes, they did follow the procedure. And the procedure was very simple. The two complainants, Mr. Nishikant Dubey as well as Jay Anand, were given the chance to put forward their complaints. They have also corroborated it with much of the evidence that they have at their disposal along with the documents. Before the ethics committee, before they confronted Mahua Moitra, she too was given a chance for at least 2.5 hours. And over there, she put out pictures, she put out evidence where she says a jilted lover, to use her words, had actually leaked out these pictures selectively, and it was completely unethical, and the entire controversy arose because he wanted to take revenge. And a similar kind of accusation has gone against Mr. Darshan Hiranandani, which is what she has been always saying against him, that he is a businessman and he of course buckled under pressure because he is subject to blackmail coming in from the government and the Prime Minister's office. This was her argument, and therefore she completely rejected and squashed all those allegations against her. So if you look at the procedure, Poonam, the procedure has been followed. The two complainants have been given their chance. Mahua Moitra has been given enough chance to defend herself. But when it came to the next step, which is cross-examination, which always happens whenever there is a complaint, the complainant is cross-examined, the witnesses are cross-examined. In this case, she too was given a chance to defend herself, but it was a legitimate right of the parliamentary committee to cross-examine her with the evidence and the documents at that disposal. But that didn't happen. In fact, as Payal has been reporting, moments after the second leg of that session began, she and opposition MPs walked out. She used some very strong words, and therefore that has not gone down very well. So, if she had been denied a chance to defend herself, perhaps there's a need to call her. There's no need to call her again. And as far as the ethics committee is concerned, their job is done. So the next step is finalizing the report. Dissenting notes, absentees will be put on record as a part of the document, handed over to the speaker. The speaker takes a call, and then on it moves on to the Lok Sabha, where she is a member from, and the House has to move and pass that resolution asking for her disqualification.
Right, so the procedure is very, very clear as far as what the next course of action against Mahua Moitra is going to be like. We did see her storming out. We haven't yet had a word from her since then, because we have sources telling us that in fact it was the chairman, Mr. Sonkar, who was allegedly abused during that hearing, which is why they have taken objection. Her aggression was what was the issue. Pallavi, before I come back to you, we have the chairman of the ethics committee with us on the phone line. Mr. Sonkar, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. Can you tell us exactly what happened in that hearing when we saw Mahua Moitra storm out? I believe we've lost that line with Mr. Vinod Sonkar, the chairman of the ethics committee. We'll try and reconnect that line with him and get a sense of what exactly transpired. But from what we're learning is that there was aggression from Mahua Moitra's side, which was objected to. And that really is what seems to have led to this dramatic exit of Mahua Moitra and the other opposition MPs coming in. Storming out, alleging bias and prejudice on part of the chairman, also questioning the leaks that have been made out of the panel's proceedings. The hearing perhaps will continue. The report also needs to be adopted. Only then will it be sent to the Speaker. Mahua Moitra has yet to come out and explain or clarify on whether or not the allegations of her abusing the chairman are true. Let's listen into some reactions that have poured in as well.
एक्यूज्ड के तौर पर महुआ मैत्रा वहां गई सांसद, लेकिन वो खुलेआम इंटरव्यू देती रही और खुलेआम इंटरव्यू में वो कोट करती रही कि कमेटी ऑफ एथिक्स के अंदर क्या हुआ। अब सही है या गलत है, लेकिन उन्होंने जनता के बीच में एक गलत नैरेटिव बनाने का प्रयास किया। और आज जो कुछ भी हुआ, ये संसदीय इतिहास का सबसे काला दिन है। ये मुझे याद आ रहा है कि कांग्रेस और उसके समर्थित दल डेमोक्रेसी में कैसा विश्वास करते हैं। यदि आपको ध्यान हो तो 2G में जब पब्लिक अकाउंट्स कमेटी डॉक्टर मुरली मनोहर जोशी जी के नेतृत्व में रिपोर्ट अडॉप्ट करना चाहती थी, तो यही कांग्रेस के सारे सांसद टेबल को तोड़ दिए, नाचने लगे, फाड़ दिया कमेटी के अंदर। और डॉक्टर मुरली मनोहर जोशी जैसे बुजुर्ग आदमी का, सम्मानित आदमी का, एक मंझे हुए पॉलिटिशियन का जो है कांग्रेस ने अपमान किया। 2G
Vinod Sonkar, the chairman of the ethics panel, is back with us on the phone line. So thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. क्या आप हमें बता सकते हैं exactly हुआ क्या उस हियरिंग में? महुआ मोइत्रा और बाकी जो विपक्ष के MPs हैं, उनका ये कहना था कि अश्लील तरीके के, ऑफेंसिव तरीके के सवाल पूछे जा रहे थे, इसीलिए वो चले गए।
जो था वो जी के ऊपर करना समिति के सदस्यों और मुझ पर
We'll try and reconnect that line with Mr. Sonkar and try and get a sense of what exactly transpired there. But we did see dramatic scenes happening inside the Parliament Annex where that hearing was taking place of the Ethics Committee, where Mahua Moitra was deposing before that committee. We then had the chairman also come out and say that, in fact, he was abused by Mahua Moitra. Mr. Sonkar, I believe, is back with us on the phone line. Sir, unfortunately, line बार-बार कट रही है शायद नेटवर्क इशू की वजह से, इसलिए मैं वापस आपसे ये पूछना चाहूंगी कि एग्जैक्टली उस मीटिंग में हुआ क्या। महua मोइत्रा का कहना है कि जिस तरीके के सवाल उनसे पूछे जा रहे थे वो अश्लील थे, वो ऑफेंसिव थे, इसीलिए वो उठकर चली गई।
देखिए, इस पूरी जांच का जो मुख्य उद्देश्य है, जो महua मोइत्रा पर अनैतिक आचरण का आरोप है, उसकी विस्तृत जानकारी करना था। परंतु महua जी इस विषय पर समिति के द्वारा किए गए प्रश्नों से बचने के लिए लगातार बचने की कोशिश की, हल्ला गल्ला की, और साथ ही साथ अंत में वो तो बेहद क्रोधित हो गई। क्रोधित होके वो समिति के चेयरमैन और समिति के अन्य सदस्यों पर असंसदीय भाषा का उपयोग करते हुए, हल्ला मचाते हुए, मेज पीटते हुए बाहर चले गए। और साथ में उनको उकसाने का काम जो है, समिति के जो कुछ सदस्य दानिश अली जी, गिरधारी यादव जी, उत्तम कुमार रेड्डी जी, नटराज जी और वैथलिंगम जी ने भी नारेबाजी की। मुझको लगता है कि ये जो कमेटी की गोपनीयता है, जो कमेटी का एक प्रोसीजर है, उसके अनुसार उन्होंने व्यवहार नहीं किया, असंसदीय भाषा का उपयोग किया, और जिस प्रकार का उन पे आरोप है उनको जांच में सहयोग करना चाहिए, लेकिन जांच में सहयोग करने के बजाय वो असंसदीय भाषा का उपयोग करते हुए वॉकआउट कर गई।
जी सोनकर जी, दानिश अली और बाकी कुछ जो विपक्ष के मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हैं, उनका ये भी कहना है कि सिलेक्टिवली चीज़ें लीक हो रही हैं। इस एथिक्स कमेटी के हियरिंग में जो हो रहा है वो भाजपा के नेताओं को, भाजपा के मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट्स को बताया जा रहा है, और जो चेयरमैन है, जो आप हैं, और जो भाजपा के बाकी मेंबर्स हैं पैनल के, वो बायस्ड है महua मोइत्रा के खिलाफ।
देखिए, मैं इस पे केवल इतना कह सकता हूँ कि कमेटी की अपनी कुछ मर्यादाएं हैं जिसके कारण हम लोग नहीं बता सकते, लेकिन मैं इतना कह सकता हूँ कि ये लगातार पहले दिन से जांच में सहयोग नहीं कर रही हैं। ये चाहे दानिश अली हो, गिरधारी जी हो, ये लोग जांच में सहयोग नहीं कर रहे हैं, बल्कि कमेटी पे दबाव बना के इस तरह का असंसदीय भाषा का उपयोग करके केवल और केवल जांच में बाधा डालने का काम कर रहे हैं।
सोनकर जी, एक आखिरी सवाल पूछना चाहूंगी आपसे, क्या आपकी जांच पूरी हो चुकी है या आप महुआ मोइत्रा जी को फिर से समन करेंगे?
अभी तो अब तो कमेटी तय करेगी आगे क्या करना है।
जी सोनकर जी, धन्यवाद हमसे बात करने के लिए here on CNN News 18. The chairman of the ethics panel there going on to say that there was indecent language, unparliamentary language that in fact was used by Mahua Moitra against the chairman and the other committee members, which was the issue. There was no question that was out of line that was asked to her, as she has come out and claimed, as has been claimed by other members of parliament from the opposition bloc as well. Pallavi continues to be with us here. Pallavi, the chairman there going on to say now it's up to the committee to decide whether this probe is over or whether Mahua Moitra is going to be summoned again. But would we be seeing a consensus, the kind of scenes that we saw with the opposition MPs walking out, would we actually see consensus between the two blocks of this panel to come out and decide what the next course of action is going to be?
Well, certainly it seems unlikely. I mean, the knives are drawn clearly between both the sides, which is the BJP, and as far as the opposition MPs are concerned, their walkout, the fact that they came out with public statements has certainly not gone down well. And in fact, if you go by the rules of the procedure, there is an oath of secrecy as far as the Parliamentary Standing Committee proceedings are concerned. You're not supposed to say anything on record. You're not supposed to divulge the details of the committee or its reports and its proceedings unless once and for all the committee's report has been tabled on the floor of the House. That's the kind of parliament sacrosancy which one does expect, and therefore they also do invite disciplinary action. Now, if you're going to ask me whether when the report is submitted, will it be a report with consensus? I don't think it's going to be that. At most, what may happen is that there will be a dissenting note which may be put forward or incorporated at a part of that committee. Now, in case all these members who walked out, who spoke out publicly, are already disqualified as members of the parliamentary committee, then the rest of the members will adopt the report, whatever the case may be, with unanimity and with consensus. And then, as we have been pointing out, that report goes to a speaker, then the speaker sends it to the government, and the government has to adopt the report and also follow whatever has been the recommendations of the ethics committee report.
Right, now as far as the ethical dilemma is concerned, or the issue of her giving her login credentials to someone outside of her staff members, whether there was quid pro quo or not, all of that will be decided and put in that report. But the fact that Mahua Moitra walked out while the hearing was happening, that too could invite trouble for her, isn't it?
Oh yes, absolutely. Because see, the procedure was followed by the ethics committee. The two complainants were given a chance to put forward their point of view, but more than that, she was also given, which is a matter of right. She has every right to defend herself. She did come armed with all the pictures, with all the documents in her defense, and in fact, there was no hurry or no pressure on her to wrap up soon. She was given at least 2.5 hours where she spoke and she defended herself. So as far as the committee is concerned, they'll always say that it's not that she goes away unsung and unheard. She has been heard out, but she comes out abusing. She walks out of the committee meeting even as we regrouped after lunch session, because that is when even she knew that she would be grilled, because you are cross-examined just as Nishikant Dubey and Jay Anand were cross-examined. They were also confronted with details. Other opposition MPs did ask them questions. We know for a fact, for example, Uttam Reddy, he did raise the issue of the so-called fake degree of Nishikant Dubey at the first round of meetings, and that response was given by Mr. Nishikant Dubey as well. Similarly, today also everyone would be given a chance to speak. They would be allowed to cross-examine her. That's the right of all the MPs who are a member of the committee. That's the right of the ethics committee as well. So the committee chairperson can always say that while you could exercise your right, none of us were allowed to exercise that right. Nor did you just walk out. You abused us. You used some very strong unparliamentary words, which means if you go by the rules of the procedure, that decorum was not maintained, and therefore there's also a fit case for disqualifying you or some action being taken against you, at least as far as the parliamentary committee is concerned.
Right, we'll have to keep our eyes out on what exactly transpires as far as the ethics committee is concerned. For the moment though, Pallavi, thank you so much for getting us the latest on that. We did see Mahua Moitra and several other opposition MPs storm out of that meeting just a short while ago. Listen into the kind of allegations they had to level.
What really prompted you to walk out of the meeting? Why did you walk out of the meeting? Why did you walk out of the meeting?
In the ethics committee, unethical questions were being asked from a lady member.
And you were saying that the chairman asked these questions?
Yes. Only chairman was examining.
transpired, all of you came storming out of that meeting.
We felt that the ethics committee was not functioning like a normal parliament committee, so all opposition MPs, we protested inside, told the chairman not to go like this, but he persisted. So
What was the question that he was asking that was making you upset?
no, we were telling him, you take a line of questioning in line with the allegations. That's fine, we're okay with that. But then we felt that he was being kind of undignified and the way he was questioning the lady MP, instead of
What was he asking?
he's saying, where are you traveling? Where are you staying there? We felt, I think he was going beyond, limits of parliamentary decency. We decided to
Now what? Now what will the
we'll see
opposition?
whatever.
Will you raise the voice with the speaker? Will you inform this to the speaker? Will you seek his
Yeah,
intervention?
see all of the opposition MPs who came out, we will meet now and discuss.
What really transpired in the meeting? Why was Mahua so angry?
No, whatever is the mandate for the ethics committee, we said we have been sitting for last 2 days. This was our second meeting. So we heard Nishikant Dubey, MP, Honorable MP. We heard Advocate Deharai. And today we are supposed to take the deposition of Ms. Mahua Moitra, Honorable MP. We heard her and she spoke for a long time, almost 2.5 hours, more than that. But in between, all of a sudden, because of the question that was put to her, she lost her cool. She was supported by a few MPs, honorable other MPs from the opposition, and they somehow put some blame and allegation on the chairman. It's because the matter of ethics committee is confidential. I would not like to, speak on those questions, but they actually ultimately in a rage
But
of
there were
it,
questions that were important with the investigation.
Obviously, these questions are important, and
Because she's alleging that-
it comes under the purview of the ethics committee.
Because she's saying that these were questions that were personal in nature.
I would not say so.
They've pulled back the defamation cases against the media houses as well. Do you have any comments on the change of stand that she has?
The matter is sub judice. It would be very inappropriate for me to say anything about a sub judice matter. Matter is before the Honorable High Court. I can say nothing about it.
But that is time for a quick break here on this edition of Nation at 5. But on the other side, we have lots lined up for you. Do stay tuned.
RP Sanjeev Goenka Group presents CNN News 18 Indian of the Year 2023. And the nominees for the entertainment category are Shah Rukh Khan, Mani Ratnam, Sunny Deol, Deepika Padukone, Manoj Bajpayee. Vote now on www.indianoftheyear.com and choose the Indians conquering the world.
Have you seen
The proceeds of the crime went into the party coffer, and that was utilized allegedly to fight the elections in Goa and perhaps in Punjab also. So the first question for Kejriwal would be, is he aware that the party of which he is the national convener, that party's coffers were receiving ill-gotten money from this alleged corruption? That will be question number one, point number one that Kejriwal will be asked to clarify. Point number two could be, why is it that in various conversations with the accused, for example, Mr. Nair, who's a key accused, who's an aide of Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Sisodia, multiple witnesses have confirmed that Mr. Nair in his conversation, FaceTime conversations, have connected accused of Indospirit, Samir Mahindra, with Mr. Kejriwal, where Arvind Kejriwal said that Nair was his man, Vijay Nair was his man. So why did he say so? Was he aware that Vijay Nair was negotiating with the South Group and promising them that in lieu of money, hundreds of crores, the policy of Delhi liquor will be tweaked? Was Mr. Kejriwal aware of that? The third thing is that some witnesses have quoted, in the case of Amandeep Dahal, another accused in this case, it has been said by the Enforcement Directorate that Arvind Kejriwal at one point said that 100 crore is required by the Aam Aadmi Party to fight the elections. Did he say this? Did this 100 crore actually get to the party coffers via the liquor policy change route? So these are questions that the ED's investigating officer wants Mr. Kejriwal to answer. There are fresh leads that have emerged from questioning of Aam Aadmi Party's Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh and his aides also. Plus Arvind Kejriwal's own close, aides like Biplab, like Jasmine Shah, they have been questioned and there are leads that ED has received from there as well. So they do want to know from Mr. Kejriwal as to what all did he know about the way this policy was formulated, being tweaked. What did he know about the way the cabinet note was prepared? What did he know about the South Group meeting the senior leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party? Aam Aadmi Party politically is preparing, it seems, for arrest of Arvind Kejriwal. If the Chief Minister gets arrested, who would fill in? Already Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh are in jail. Most of the portfolios are with Atishi and Saurabh Bhardwaj. If Mr. Kejriwal also is taken into custody, what is the way ahead for Aam Aadmi Party? The party is already making a political hue and cry. The Enforcement Directorate for now is keeping its cards very close to its chest. The Enforcement Directorate's countdown for Arvind Kejriwal has begun. The Enforcement Directorate wants to question Arvind Kejriwal in the Delhi excise policy scam. November 22nd, post 11 a.m. is the time that has been given. But will he, won't he? That suspense remains. Now, Arvind Kejriwal is scheduled to be in Madhya Pradesh, Singrauli, to address an election rally. And he could be accompanied by Bhagwant Mann, the Chief Minister of Punjab. The current schedule, as we have been told by sources, is that Bhagwant Mann is arriving in Delhi tomorrow morning, and as per the schedule, Arvind Kejriwal and Bhagwant Mann are to take a flight to Varanasi and from there onwards to Singrauli. And that is what they have informed the Enforcement Directorate, that because this is a pre-scheduled election engagement, elections are due in Madhya Pradesh on the 17th, they are campaigning for their party, both the Chief Minister of Delhi and Punjab, and there are a lot of people who will be waiting to hear them. So on that ground, on the ground of electioneering, Arvind Kejriwal has sought more time from ED, but whether he will be given more time, whether fresh summons will be issued to him, that suspense remains. In the past also, we have seen Chief Ministers like Chief Minister of Jharkhand, Hemant Soren, not appearing on the first day of summon and asking for more time. And the ED usually, under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, does give you 3 chances. But in this case, we are still waiting for a confirmation either from Aam Aadmi Party or from the Enforcement Directorate to tell us clearly if Arvind Kejriwal will ultimately not appear before the Enforcement Directorate on November 2nd, post 11 a.m. Now, why does ED really want to question Arvind Kejriwal? The questioning is likely on 3 fronts. This is the first time he'll appear before the ED. Earlier in April this year, he had answered questions of Central Bureau of Investigation in the same case. But ED wants to have Kejriwal to answer 3-point questionnaire. Number 1, is the Aam Aadmi Party the real beneficiary of the liquor policy scam? That is the charge that the ED has made in the Supreme Court also during the bail hearing of Manish Sisodia. They have even said that we are legally looking at the option of making Aam Aadmi Party a party in the charge sheet, because the ultimate beneficiary, the proceeds of the crime went into the party coffer, and that was utilized allegedly to fight the elections in Goa and perhaps in Punjab also. So the first question for Kejriwal would be, is he aware that the party of which he is the national convener, that party's coffers were receiving ill-gotten money from this alleged corruption? That will be question number 1, point number 1 that Kejriwal will be asked to clarify. Point number 2 could be, why is it that in various conversations with the accused, for example, Mr. Nair, who's a key accused, who's an aide of Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Sisodia, multiple witnesses have confirmed that Mr. Nair in his conversation, FaceTime conversations, have connected accused of Indospirit, Sameer Mahindru, with Mr. Kejriwal, where Arvind Kejriwal said that Nair was his man, Vijay Nair was his man. So why did he say so? Was he aware that Vijay Nair was negotiating with the South Group and promising them that in lieu of money, hundreds of crores, the policy of Delhi liquor will be tweaked? Was Mr. Kejriwal aware of that? The third thing is that some witnesses have quoted, in the case of Amandeep Dahal, another accused in this case, it has been said by the Enforcement Directorate that Arvind Kejriwal at one point said that 100 crore is required by the Aam Aadmi Party to fight the elections. Did he say this? Did this 100 crore actually get to the party coffers via the liquor policy change route? So these are questions that the ED's investigating officer wants Mr. Kejriwal to answer. There are fresh leads that have emerged from questioning of Aam Aadmi Party's Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh and his aides also. Plus Arvind Kejriwal's own close, aides like Biplab, like Jasmine Shah, they have been questioned and there are leads that ED has received from there as well. So they do want to know from Mr. Kejriwal as to what all did he know about the way this policy was formulated, being tweaked. What did he know about the way the cabinet note was prepared? What did he know about the South Group meeting the senior leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party? Aam Aadmi Party politically is preparing, it seems, for arrest of Arvind Kejriwal. If the Chief Minister gets arrested, who would fill in? Already Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh are in jail. Most of the portfolios are with Atishi and Saurabh Bhardwaj. If Mr.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5 with me, Poonam Burde. The story we're tracking at this hour is one of apathy that came to the fore from the national capital. A young life snuffed out. A young filmmaker was in a road accident, but that's not what killed him. It was the apathy of the people who passed by, watching him bleed on the road. That's what's killed him. The delay which led to his death is what has now stunned not just the national capital, but the entire country. For a few minutes, the very crucial minutes where his life could have been saved, there were people that were passing by, they were taking pictures. Some allegedly even stole some of his personal belongings, all of which is now under investigation. But is this insensitivity, is this kind of urban apathy that we see in our metro cities like Delhi, is this something that is irredeemable? That's the question we're asking here on Nation at 5. Let's listen in to some reactions that have poured in of what exactly transpired, an account coming to the fore from my colleague and the eyewitnesses that we spoke to.
On the 31st of October, Piyush Pal, a budding documentary maker, had left his house to go to his swimming classes. And while he was returning back, who knew that he'll meet with an accident due to which he'll lose his life? This is the very location in which the accident had happened. What sources have confirmed to CNN News 18 is that Piyush Pal was actually returning from his swimming classes when at this very spot, at this very juncture out here in South Delhi's Panchsheel Park, he met with an accident. The accident happened at approximately 9:30 p.m. in the night, whereas the first PCR call was made at 10:11 p.m., which means for at least half an hour, the Piyush Pal was actually lying on the roads with his injured body, whereas no one came out to help him. Currently, I am being joined by one of the eyewitnesses, Mr. Raju. He was present over here on that very day when the accident had happened. Although he did not see the accident happening, but yes, he saw the aftermath of the accident. ये बताया जा रहा है कि जो बॉडी थी वो काफी देर तक यहाँ पड़ी रही थी, पीसीआर नहीं आई थी, एम्बुलेंस नहीं आई थी. क्या देखा आपने और क्या हुआ था उस दिन?
ऐसा है कि जब मैं यहाँ पे यहीं पे पास में ड्यूटी करता हूँ मैं, तो मैं जा रहा था तो यहाँ पे काफी भीड़ लगी हुई थी. मैंने देखा यहाँ एक बंदा पड़ा हुआ था और लगभग 10 से 12 मिनट तक तो मैं यहाँ पे रुका था. उसके बाद मैं चला गया था, लेकिन उसके बावजूद भी मैं बाहर सड़क क्रॉस करके मैंने देखा काफ़ी देर तक पड़ी रही थी. ये लगभग जब मैं यहाँ पे पहुँचा था तो 8, 10 या 15 क्या ऐसे ही है बात.
आप उस दिन आपने मदद की पीयूष पाल की जब उनकी इंजर्ड बॉडी पड़ी हुई थी. क्या देखा आपने और एक बार पूरा घटनाक्रम एक बार दर्शकों के लिए बताइए प्लीज़.
एक्चुअली उस टाइम मैं गुड़गांव से आ रहा था, तो वहाँ पे जब गया तो काफ़ी लोग फ़ोटो ले रहे थे. कोई ये कह रहा था, कोई ये उसको बोल रहा है भाई किसी को बुलाओ, वो उसको बोल रहा है इसी को बुलाओ. तो मैंने बोला किसी ने एम्बुलेंस को कॉल. एक बंदे आर्या नाम का बंदा था जो वहीं पे मौजूद था. सडन मेरे से थोड़ी देर पहले ही पहुंचा था वो. तो उसने बोला कि भाई मैंने ना कॉल, उसने बोला कि भाई कॉल तो कर दिया पर अभी तक आई नहीं है. और एक बंदे ने बोला मैंने पीसीआर में भी कॉल कर दिया अभी तक आई नहीं है. इसका मतलब वो बंदा काफ़ी देर से पड़ा हुआ था वहाँ पे. तो मैंने सडन मेरे छोटे भाई को उतारा स्कूटी से. मैंने कहा आकाश तू यहाँ वेट कर, मैं जल्दी से हॉस्पिटल पे इसको ड्रॉप करके आ जाऊँगा. तो मेरा छोटा भाई 12-13 साल का था, वो वहीं खड़ा था. तो खड़ा होने के बाद मैंने लोगों को बोला कि भाई प्लीज़ इसके पास टाइम कम है, कोई भी मेरे साथ सपोर्ट कर दो क्योंकि बहुत हैवी बॉडी है बंदे की, ये मेरे से उठेगा नहीं. फिर आर्या और उसके भाई वो दोनों सामने आए और उसके साथ एक लड़का था राहुल नाम का, कह रहा भैया मैं भी चलता हूँ. तो फिर मैक्स तक पहुँचे. मैक्स तक पहुँचने के बाद मैक्स के जो वॉचमैन थे उन्होंने बोला भैया ये 6 बजे बंद हो जाता है. यहाँ पे जितनी भी डॉक्टर की टीम आती है वो 6 बजे तक चली जाती है. अभी यहाँ पे कोई नहीं है, सिर्फ हम वॉचमैन हैं. तो कह रहे आप साकेत वाली पे ले जाओ. हम साकेत वाली पे लेके गए. साकेत वाली जाने से पहले मैंने देखा कि भाई ज़्यादा टाइम भी नहीं है हमारे पास. तो मेरे को ना PSRI हॉस्पिटल देखा कि हार्ट बीट और कम हो गए थे. वो बंदा बहुत स्लोली मतलब अपनी सांसें ले रहा था, बहुत स्लोली सांसें ले रहा था. हमने उसे किसी तरीके से उठा के उसको स्ट्रेचर पे रख के फिर उसको अंदर वेंटिलेटर पे लेके गए. वेंटिलेटर पे ले जाने के बाद कुछ नर्स की टीम आई.
taking your calls live here on CNN News 18 on this edition of Nation at 5. The numbers are flashing on your screens. We see such instances, unfortunately, come to the fore from large metro cities ever so often. Why is that people do not want to come out and help? That's a question we're asking here. Is there a solution, or is this illness, is this malice an irredeemable part of being a part of metro cities? Joining us on this broadcast is Anurag Kulshestra. He's part of the Tracks Road Safety NGO. Anurag, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. You know, crucial moments are lost, and because of which we see young lives like this one being lost in a city like New Delhi. It's not too late in the night. It's a busy streets. It's an area where perhaps many of the richest of this city live there. We have cars and bikes passing by, and yet people let this boy leave there on the road bleeding for about 30 minutes.
I think two people have already discussed about this. They have helped. Maybe they have helped after 10, 15 or 20 minutes. But they start because the Good Samaritan law says like you have to help the victim. People has started the help. Somebody has called up the ambulance or the PCR, but unfortunately there was a delay in response time from the police side or from the ambulance side. So ultimately, the people have taken this body or taken this victim to the hospital. But it is very unfortunate in our country, maybe in Delhi especially also, like nobody knows where are the trauma centers. And instead of trauma centers, they are taking these victims to, naturally, as per my own knowledge, I'll be reaching to the first nearest hospital. And if max type of hospital, if they are denying this, it's a serious concern for our medical health or the medical line. Okay, why they refused it? They have to give the first aid at least. And it is mandatory as per the Good Samaritan law also. Okay, no hospital or no clinic can say no to any victim. At least they have to provide the first aid, and then they have to arrange the transportation to the trauma centers. So this is a big question. And second thing, yes, this is a law of probability, because if 100 people are gathered at one place, then naturally only 1 and 2 or 4 will help the victims. So this is okay, because I'm at least I'm satisfied that somebody has helped. That doesn't matter if all the 100% gathering is there, so all 100% will be helping the victim. And this is a management also. If there's a crowd, so somebody has to manage the crowd also, and somebody has to manage the victim's body also.
Yes.
It's quite obvious. It's okay. I'm satisfied at least.
But you know, we're talking about this Good Samaritan law, and you know, a lot of times when we see instances like this or accidents like this, a lot of times why people don't help is also because nobody wants to get, you know, stuck in the kind of bureaucracy that happens maybe with the police or at the hospital of what happened, how were you involved, the kind of questions that are raised. A lot of people don't want to get into that, which is why perhaps they don't help. That is something that this law tried to counter. But do you think that kind of doubt still remains in the people's minds, which is why they don't come forward?
So actually, I'm just telling you, because Good Samaritan law, it started in US, in America basically, and it was mandatory to help the victim body, and it has made mandatory that if you don't have the first aid knowledge, you need not to touch the body of the victim. You have to call like police or the ambulance, and you have to be present over there till the medical help arrived over there. But in India, we are spreading the things. Anybody can handle the body of the victim in any type and just put, like hold the body with 2 legs and his hands and put it into the car or auto, and anyhow you just transport that victim's body to the hospital. This is a very wrong concept, which has been like advertised in India.
Yes.
So, and anybody cannot help the victim's body. Naturally, if you are having the knowledge, then you have to help, and at least because there is a type of this crowd management, and after that the encouragement or the motivation to the victim. If somebody is coming, hold yourself, don't worry, some help will be coming soon, and you will be okay, and keep continuing in discussion with that. This is a Good Samaritan basically.
Yes.
But we are spreading the masses like this. Anybody in any type and any type of transportation they can do in any manner. This is a very wrong concept. And second thing, this is about the synchronization of our medical system, because our all ambulances and even this PCR, they are not synchronized or the integrated together, so that if you are making a call, then all the call and every call will reach to anyone, and whoever the nearest will come over
Yes.
there.
Yes.
So this is also a flaw in our system.
So all of that needs to be looked into so that we do not lose any more such lives to accidents like these. Accidents happen, but what happens afterwards, it's also something that can save someone's life, or unfortunately, like in Piyush's case, that is something that can cost your life as well. Anurag Kulshreshtha, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. On that note, we're slipping into a quick break here on this edition. Back in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Co-powered by
Is taken into custody. What is the way ahead for Aam Aadmi Party? The party is already making a political hue and cry. The Enforcement Directorate for now is keeping its cards very close to its chest. The Enforcement Directorate's countdown for Arvind Kejriwal has begun. The Enforcement Directorate wants to question Arvind Kejriwal in the Delhi excise policy scam. November 22nd, post 11 a.m. is the time that has been given. But will he, won't he? That suspense remains. Now, Arvind Kejriwal is scheduled to be in Madhya Pradesh, Singrauli, to address an election rally. And he could be accompanied by Bhagwant Mann, the Chief Minister of Punjab. The current schedule, as we have been told by sources, is that Bhagwant Mann is arriving in Delhi tomorrow morning, and as per the schedule, Arvind Kejriwal and Bhagwant Mann are to take a flight to Varanasi and from there onwards to Singrauli. And that is what they have informed the Enforcement Directorate, that because this is a pre-scheduled election engagement, elections are due in Madhya Pradesh on the 17th, they are campaigning for their party, both the Chief Minister of Delhi and Punjab, and there are a lot of people who will be waiting to hear them. So on that ground, on the ground of electioneering, Arvind Kejriwal has sought more time from ED, but whether he will be given more time, whether fresh summons will be issued to him, that suspense remains. In the past also, we have seen chief ministers like Chief Minister of Jharkhand, Hemant Soren, not appearing on the first day of summon and asking for more time. And the ED usually, under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, does give you 3 chances. But in this case, we are still waiting for a confirmation either from Aam Aadmi Party or from the Enforcement Directorate to tell us clearly if Arvind Kejriwal will ultimately not appear before the Enforcement Directorate on November 2nd post 11 a.m. Now, why does ED really want to question Arvind Kejriwal? The questioning is likely on 3 fronts. This is the first time he'll appear before the ED. Earlier in April this year, he had answered questions of Central Bureau of Investigation in the same case. But ED wants to have Kejriwal to answer 3-point questionnaire. Number 1, is the Aam Aadmi Party the real beneficiary of the liquor policy scam? That is the charge that the ED has made in the Supreme Court also during the bail hearing of Manish Sisodia. They have even said that we are legally looking at the option of making Aam Aadmi Party a party in the charge sheet, because the ultimate beneficiary, the proceeds of the crime went into the party coffer, and that was utilized allegedly to fight the elections in Goa and perhaps in Punjab also. So the first question for Kejriwal would be, is he aware that the party of which he is the national convener, that party's coffers were receiving ill-gotten money from this alleged corruption? That will be question number 1, point number 1 that Kejriwal will be asked to clarify. Point number 2 could be, why is it that in various conversations with the accused, for example, Mr. Nair, who's a key accused, who's an aide of Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Sisodia, multiple witnesses have confirmed that Mr. Nair in his conversation, FaceTime conversations, have connected accused of Indospirit, Sameer Mahindru, with Mr. Kejriwal, where Arvind Kejriwal said that Nair was his man, Vijay Nair was his man. So why did he say so? Was he aware that Vijay Nair was negotiating with the South Group and promising them that in lieu of money, hundreds of crores, the policy of Delhi liquor will be tweaked? Was Mr. Kejriwal aware of that? The third thing is that some witnesses have quoted, in the case of Amandeep Dahal, another accused in this case, it has been said by the Enforcement Directorate that Arvind Kejriwal at one point said that 100 crore is required by the Aam Aadmi Party to fight the elections. Did he say this? Did this 100 crore actually get to the party coffers via the liquor policy change route? So these are questions that the ED's investigating officer wants Mr. Kejriwal to answer. There are fresh leads that have emerged from questioning of Aam Aadmi Party's Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh and his aides also. Plus Arvind Kejriwal's own close, aides like Biplab, like Jasmine Shah, they have been questioned, and there are leads that ED has received from there as well. So they do want to know from Mr. Kejriwal as to what all did he know about the way this policy was formulated, being tweaked. What did he know about the way the cabinet note was prepared? What did he know about the South Group meeting the senior leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party? Aam Aadmi Party politically is preparing, it seems, for arrest of Arvind Kejriwal. If the Chief Minister gets arrested, who would fill in? Already Manish Sisodia and Sanjay Singh are in jail. Most of the portfolios are with Atishi and Saurabh Bhardwaj. If Mr. Kejriwal also is taken into custody, what is the way ahead for Aam Aadmi Party? The party is already making a political hue and cry. The Enforcement Directorate for now is keeping its cards very close to its chest. The Enforcement Directorate's countdown for Arvind Kejriwal has begun. The Enforcement Directorate wants to question Arvind Kejriwal in the Delhi excise policy scam. November 22nd, post 11 a.m. is the time that has been given. But will he, won't he? That suspense remains. Now, Arvind Kejriwal is scheduled to be in Madhya Pradesh, Singrauli, to address an election rally. And he could be accompanied by Bhagwant Mann, the Chief Minister of Punjab. The current schedule, as we have been told by sources, is that Bhagwant Mann is arriving in Delhi tomorrow morning, and as per the schedule, Arvind Kejriwal and Bhagwant Mann are to take a flight to Varanasi and from there onwards to Singrauli. And that is what they have informed the Enforcement Directorate, that because this is a pre-scheduled election engagement, elections are due in Madhya Pradesh on the 17th, they are campaigning for their party, both the Chief Minister of Delhi and Punjab, and there are a lot of people who will be waiting to hear them. So on that ground, on the ground of electioneering, Arvind Kejriwal has sought more time from ED, but whether he will be given more time, whether fresh summons will be issued to him, that suspense remains. In the past also, we have seen Chief Ministers like Chief Minister of Jharkhand, Hemant Soren, not appearing on the first day of summon and asking for more time. And the ED usually, under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, does give you 3 chances. But in this case, we are still waiting for a confirmation either from Aam Aadmi Party or from the Enforcement Directorate to tell us clearly if Arvind Kejriwal will ultimately not appear before the Enforcement Directorate on November 2nd, post 11 a.m. Now, why does ED really want to question Arvind Kejriwal? The questioning is likely on 3 fronts. This is the first time he'll appear before the ED. Earlier in April this year, he had answered questions of Central Bureau of Investigation in the same case. But ED wants to have Kejriwal to answer 3-point questionnaire. Number 1, is the Aam Aadmi Party the real beneficiary of the liquor policy scam? That is the charge that the ED has made in the Supreme Court also during the bail hearing of Manish Sisodia.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5. We have some breaking news that's now coming in, and this is what we've learned from our intel sources, that the FATF team is going to be visiting India this month. We have information of who the members of this FATF team are going to be that are going to make a visit to India. We do not have details yet of the exact date, but what we are learning is that RBI officials are going to be meeting with the FATF members who've come from Brazil, UK, South Africa, France, Malaysia and Russia are going to be in India for their due diligence. But what's important is that India is not worried. This is a routine affair is what we're given to understand. But let's take you across to the information that we are gathering as far as our sources within the intel agencies are concerned. This is what we've learned, that the FATF team is not a worry. India is not worried as far as this visit is concerned. It's a routine affair. It's due diligence. Strong mechanism in India is in place, which is why India is not worried, is what we're learning from within our intelligence sources. India is in a strong position due to Prime Minister Modi's leadership, which is why this FATF visit is seen as a routine affair. The FATF team is going to be meeting with top economic bodies. Like I said, the RBI members are also going to be meeting with this FATF team when they visit this month. We are yet to get you more details as to when that exact date of the visit is going to be. RBI, ED and Finance Department members are going to be meeting with the FATF team. We have members of the FATF coming in from Russia. We have them coming in from South Africa, Brazil, UK and France as well. Anand Narasimhan, my colleague, joining us, getting us more details now. Anand, we're looking at this as a routine affair, nothing to worry about. If you could give us more perspective.
Well, what happens is there are other nations who are currently on the watch list, but there are nations which are trying to also work and orchestrate a lobby within the FATF to try and pin India down. But we are very, very clear about our financial systems and how robust it is. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the government itself has been committed towards erasing or eradicating all of the parallel economy systems and crack down on any of the argy-bargy which is happening on nations like Pakistan and Myanmar and some other nations which continue to be as part of the watch list, nations with serious concerns like Jamaica, like Barbados, even South Africa is part of that list, Myanmar is part of that list, Bharat is not part of that list. But very clearly we are here to welcome all these officials who have come from, who are also members of nations like France, Malaysia, UK, Russia, who are going to be in the country meeting senior members from the RBI within the government and also within the intelligence system to try and understand how we are able to create a robust system which will counter anything that comes under the ambit of FATF or the Financial Action Task Force. So we are welcoming this scrutiny because we've got a robust system, perhaps which can also be a template on some of the other nations which are under serious scrutiny by the FATF.
Now, Anand, like you pointed out, the other countries that we've seen FATF teams visit were really because they were under the scanner. So now if this is routine affair, then what exactly is the FATF looking to do here?
Well, there has been a particular lobby and there has been some nations who have really suffered because of being part of the FATF grey list and who have just emerged out of that list and continue to be very closely monitored. Those nations are trying to create a lobby and create a perception about Bharat and our financial systems. So it is to erase that, and it's a routine thing that they go to all nations like this, and there are constant engagements which are happening with members of the FATF. India has always cooperated in any of the investigations that have been conducted. So there is not much of a concern, but it is to also address those entities who are trying to perhaps create something out of nothing. So that's the reason why this aspect that the government sources, while speaking to our group editor security Manoj Gupta, have very clearly said that we welcome them. We are going to show them how our financial structure is and how robust we are trying to make sure and ensure that there is no existing parallel economy, unlike certain other nations which are safe havens not just for terrorism but also this game of money laundering and terror financing.
Right, Anand, thank you so much for putting that in perspective for us and getting us the latest. India's finances are in order. There's absolutely no need to worry. The FATF team can come visit anytime they want, take stock as they want. For now, shifting focus to the other big story that ails two of our major cities in the country, Delhi and Mumbai, and that is the deteriorating air quality that we are seeing. Now, Delhi is used to this, many would say, because this is what we see every single winter. But for Mumbai, it's new. We've seen the air quality deteriorate in both those cities consecutively for the last 1 week. Diwali is just around the corner and it's only going to get much worse, is what experts believe. Take a look at some of these reports.
Air quality in the national capital and the NCR region continues to deteriorate as the pollution worsens. And currently, I am reporting from the Sector 98 Noida region. And as you can see the visuals around, I'll tell my camera person to pan the camera. And you can see that the entire NCR capital, entire Noida is shrouded under smoke because of the air quality that has worsened. And you can see in the visuals, the high-rise buildings from where I am standing is the 18th floor, and from here as well, you can see that the building which you can see is not visible at all over here. And there are several factors which have accumulated because of this, but the main is that the AQI in the Anand Vihar region is over 950 right now. And because of that, and that is an unprecedented situation we are witnessing in the national capital for the very first time. In Mundka, the AQI is severe category and it's almost 400, above 400. And this is the first time that it is happening that the AQIs are being recorded at such higher levels. And the main reason is always because of the stubble burning in the state. Well, you know that in the October, the stubble burning was less in Punjab, but it is expected to rise, and the coming days will be more crucial because the air quality is still worsening. And you can see, and as you can see the visual, the entire Noida region is shrouded under smoke because of this air pollution as well.
लोगों का बाहर निकलना दुर्भर हो गया है और जो बड़े बुजुर्ग हैं उन लोगों के लिए जो मॉर्निंग वॉक्स पे जाते थे, ये मतलब ये हमारी मेंटल और फिजिकल दोनों हेल्थ को ये बहुत ही बैडली इम्पैक्ट कर रहा है।
जी पिछले 5 दिनों में पॉल्यूशन की ने हालत ऐसी कर दी है कि जो चीजें 2 किलोमीटर की दिख सकती थी वो आप देख सकते हैं पूरा शहर ग्रे हो गया है। और जो N95 मास्क कहते हैं ना, जो कोविड में तक बचा सकता था, वो इस पॉल्यूशन में आपको नहीं बचा पाएगा। N99 मास्क ही डॉक्टर्स रेकमेंड कर रहे हैं और यही चीज है जो कुछ हद तक आपको बचा सकती है, पर सरकार को कुछ ना कुछ तो करना पड़ेगा।
I want to tell the government to take actions immediately because how we are suffering as if we are smoking cigarette whole day. It is so harmful and just don't feel like stepping out of the house, and it's not possible. We are working, we need to step out of the house and the government should take immediate action.
मेरे हिसाब से तो गवर्नमेंट को कुछ ना कुछ करना चाहिए इस बात के लिए। पहले तो अवेयरनेस की बहुत जरूरत है कि अवेयरनेस हो जाए इस बात की और हर आदमी अपनी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी समझ ले कि मेरा भी इसमें कुछ कंट्रीब्यूशन है, तो उससे भी कुछ बेनिफिट हो जाए। आसपास के गांव वगैरह पराली वगैरह ना जलाएं, उससे कुछ बढ़िया हो जाए।
It's election season. 5 states go to polls this month: Madhya Pradesh, Mizoram, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh and Telangana, all of which action you will find here on CNN News 18. We are tracking the developments in all of those poll-bound states. My colleagues are gauging the mood at the length of breadth of all of these states. Madhya Pradesh is where several BJP heavyweights have been fielded. One of them is Kailash Vijayvargiya. We caught up with him on campaign trail. Listen in to what he had to tell us.
मतलब जितना लुत्फ अभी इसमें आपको यहाँ खाने में मिल रहा है सराफे वाली गली में, क्या चुनाव में अभी इतना लुत्फ आ पा रहा है आपको? क्योंकि एक लंबे अरसे के बाद, 10 साल के फासले के बाद आप दोबारा चुनावी राजनीति में उतरे।
डबल लुत्फ आ रहा है, खूब लुत्फ आ रहा है और कार्यकर्ताओं को जो उत्साह है वो बहुत जबरदस्त है, इसलिए बहुत आनंद ले रहे हैं, बहुत बड़ा आनंद।
एक बात अभी अब शोले की कहानी समझना चाहूंगा, क्योंकि अभी बीच में कमलनाथ और दिग्विजय सिंह कुर्ते फाड़ने की बात हुई। आपकी पार्टी ने कहा कि इस पार्टी में तो अंदरूनी सीटों को बंटवारे को लेकर दोनों के बीच में दरार है, लेकिन अब कमलनाथ कह रहे हैं कि पहले रणदीप सुरजेवाला ने कहा कि जय और वीरू, कमलनाथ और दिग्विजय सिंह, और वो गब्बर सिंह को मजा चखाएंगे।
देखिए मुझे लगता है जय और वीरू जिस प्रकार काम करते थे, एक दूसरे के ऊपर विश्वास था उनको तो एक दूसरे पर विश्वास ही नहीं। अभी दिल्ली बुलाए गए हैं, मंच पे उन्होंने बोला कपड़े फाड़ना तो दिग्विजय सिंह के फाड़ो, ऐसा कभी जय वीरू
नेताजी को तो खिलाई दूंगा, ऐसा कभी जय और वीरू शोले में तो नहीं करते थे,
कभी नहीं करते, कभी किया भी नहीं उन्होंने।
बीच में पोस्टर लगे आपके यहाँ पर राम मंदिर को लेके कि 22 तारीख को राम मंदिर की शुरुआत हो रही है, राम मंदिर की प्राण प्रतिष्ठा हो रही है, उसको लेके मतलब तरह तरह के ऐतराज हुए। एक आपके यहाँ के नेता ने तो चुनाव आयोग को भी शिकायत कर दी।
देखिए देखिए ऐसा है कि कांग्रेस को तो राम के बारे में बोलने का अधिकार ही नहीं है, और मुझे लगता है कांग्रेस ने जिस तरीके से राम जी के बारे में सुप्रीम कोर्ट में हलफनामा दिया कि राम तो काल्पनिक है, राम तो थे ही नहीं, अब वो राम के अस्तित्व के बारे में कैसे चर्चा कर सकते हैं? उन्होंने कहा रामचरितमानस तो उपन्यास है, ये काल्पनिक है। तो राम के बारे में कांग्रेस का अधिकार नहीं, पूरे देश का अधिकार है, क्योंकि कांग्रेस ने कभी राम को माना नहीं, कभी राम मंदिर बनने में अपना सहयोग नहीं दिया और हमेशा राम मंदिर के खिलाफ ही रहे।
लेकिन वो कह रहे हैं कि मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम राम का राजनीति में इस्तेमाल ठीक नहीं।
कहाँ कौन कर रहा है राजनीति में इस्तेमाल? वो ही लाते हैं, हम तो लाते नहीं कभी। हमारा तो विकास का एजेंडा है, हम तो डेवलपमेंट की ही बात करते हैं सिर्फ। हमने कभी भी राम जी को चुनाव में कभी उपयोग नहीं किया। वही आरोप लगाते हैं, पोस्टर लग गए तो उसके पीछे लग गए।
That's all we could pack in for you in this edition of Nation at 5. Thank you so much for tuning in. Plain Speak with Shivani coming up next.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The cash for query row exploded today after TMC MP Mahua Moitra and opposition members stormed out of the Lok Sabha Ethics Committee meeting, accusing the panel chief of asking her personal and unethical questions. Soon after this, a massive war of words broke out as ethics panel chief rebuffed all those allegations levelled by both opposition MPs and Mahua Moitra herself. BJP MP Nishikant Dubey, on whose complaint the ethics panel is questioning Mahua, claimed that she was trying to mislead the issue by getting aggressive and using unparliamentary language. This may be an unprecedented situation where even a panel's proceedings have become really acrimonious, slipping into the public in this fashion. One wonders what the future of this said hearing can be. But of course, it will not take away from the initial charges or questions against the TMC MP, which pertains to sharing your parliamentary login and password and taking alleged bribes or favours in lieu of questions asked in Parliament. Both have serious issues and have become serious issues for Mahua Moitra. They can have serious consequences, and eventually Mahua Moitra will have to respond before a panel of this kind. The panel's primary mandate is to figure out if she broke ethical boundaries by divulging her login and allowing an independent third party to file questions on her behalf. Aside from all the drama, the fundamental question is this: can Mahua Moitra evade this ethics question here? We take that to our guests in just a bit, but first up, take a look at these visuals that transpired inside Parliament today. These are visuals from just when that meeting broke off. You can see Danish Ali and also Mahua Moitra and other opposition MPs, part of this panel, extremely angry. They are saying some things in high-pitched voices, shouting almost, where the media personnel there to catch what they're saying. Mahua Moitra, of course, has alleged that there were quote-unquote filthy questions being asked by the ethics panel chief Vinod Sonkar, and opposition MPs who were part of this panel have also echoed or supported Mahua Moitra's claim, slamming the chairman or in effect the entire proceedings that have transpired. Now, the ethics panel chief Vinod Sonkar rebuffed those charges made. So let's just take a look at what are the statements that have come from either side. So the opposition has claimed, and particularly Mahua Moitra has claimed, that unethical, personal and filthy questions were asked by the chairman to her. The panel chief has rebutted by saying that actually it was Mahua Moitra who was extremely aggressive during the meeting and even used foul language or unparliamentary language. The opposition has gone on to say that it was only the panel chairman that was asking questions. They have taken offence to that, while the panel